fuck want what with me? Heart is out and I say that reluctantly, cause it should go without saying, but y'all playing dumb. Far as these rappers go, I'm not fearing none. 16 ain't enough to do it justice. Just cop the fall off and he'll explain. Is it the end of the chapter? Happily ever after? Bet this gon' be the year that fulfill his reign, man.
What's up, guys? My name is Devin Curioni. I am born and raised in San Diego, California. I am 27 years old and I am now here in Reno, Nevada, about to compete in my second pro show. I'm here to take you along my rookie season, and this is my last ride. So what initially motivated me to pursue bodybuilding professionally was just knowing that I have a standard of myself. And I played baseball in the past and things like that, but I always knew I wanted to be one of the best one day with something. And when I found the passion for bodybuilding and what it does for not only me, but what it does for others as well and how it makes you feel, I knew that that was the time that I wanted to give everything I have in order to be a professional bodybuilder and be with those top guys in the world one day. How I mentally prepare for my competitions is I take a step back from my in-person clients. I mainly focus on my online clients. I still have people that train my in-person clients, but during that time, I really take the time to focus on myself because, as you know, bodybuilding can definitely be taxing mentally, not only mentally, but physically. So I make sure I do everything possible in order to line myself up, save my energy, and pursue a perfect prep. So that way I have no room for error when it comes to stepping on that stage. You know, every single day that you go through, it needs to be executed with perfection, because that one person that does not execute that one simple thing during that prep leading up to that show is where you pass them up or they pass you up. A personal thing that has impacted my bodybuilding journey and kind of really set the fire in me was I had some people tell me that I would never be, good enough or never be able to be on that top pro stage one day. And honestly, I love hearing that shit. That is the stuff that makes me want to keep going. That is the stuff that I not only want to prove them wrong, but I want to prove to myself that I have what it takes. As long as you take one step forward every single day, you strive, you do everything you can possible, everything will eventually align. So all I can say there is making sure that you believe in yourself, because that's all that matters in this sport. What advice would I give somebody to stay motivated in their fitness journey? I would love to give advice not only just on the prep series, but just in general, whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, or whatever your goals are. And that's just take it day by day. You need to be consistent. You need to make sure that you don't put yourself down during this journey. You're gonna have your ups and downs, but as long as you keep going, and say that there's a day that you're just not feeling like going to the gym, well, that is the day that's gonna matter. That is the day where your body is gonna make those changes. So mainly keep your head up, keep pushing forward, just stay consistent, stay disciplined, and know that the results will come as long as you're consistent with it. So how I balance bodybuilding with my relationships and other hobbies. My other hobbies honestly go out the door. So when I'm on a prep, I am specifically focused on this prep and this prep only. Thankfully, I have a great group of people, great family and great friends, a small group of people, small group of friends that understand my journey and what my mission is as a bodybuilder and where I'm trying to get in life. That's something that's very important, is making sure that you have, a spouse that definitely understands your journey, knows what you're going through, even if they have never gone through a prep or anything like that. But as long as they know that they believe in you and they understand your journey and the struggles that you're going through, and they're helping you side by side, that is the most important part. So for me, I am very thankful to have my wife, Shelby, with me throughout this whole entire process. She's been with me before I even became a pro. before I even owned my gym. And she has been a huge help with just understanding my lifestyle, understanding when to kind of step back and let me do my thing. And same thing, I'm very blessed to have clients that also understand my career, my bodybuilding career, and what I need to do during those moments of prep. I do own a gym in San Diego called the Human Elite. We are definitely a family-oriented community, open gym. We have a lot of professional athletes as far as bodybuilding that are based out of the Human Elite. We have a lot of top-notch NPC competitors, top-notch coaches. But the great thing is, even though we have a very elite atmosphere in the Human Elite, everybody, whether you're a mom, you're a dad, you're just starting your fitness journey, everybody helps each other. And that is the awesome thing about our community over at the Human Elite in San Diego of El Cajon. You know, they also, when they see me in the gym and on prep, they could see my face. They could know when I'm on prep. They can know kind of when not to talk to me, kind of deal. So, you know, I have a great community of people in Lakeside, California, El Cajon area. And I'm very blessed to have a gym with such a great community of people and that support me, especially when I had to take that step away from the gym for a little while to focus on my shows, because when I'm competing, my shows are 100% my focus. I honestly still put my attention into my businesses and my clients, but not as much as my business as far as the gym when I am in my competition prep. So I'm very thankful to have a community that also supports me. In the bodybuilding world, I hope to leave a legacy of everybody remembers my name. I want people to remember me in a positive way. I want people to know that Devin Curioni was, you know, one of the top guys in the world. Not only that, he was a very humble guy. You know, if you would come up and talk to him, he would talk to you, he would shake your hand. You know, that's the kind of reputation I want to have. I want to have a reputation of being able to help continue build that bodybuilding industry and not just make it about a selfish sport, because this sport is not selfish at all. So many people think, yes, it's selfish in some points, but ever since I've even just turned pro, I have met so many people that, you know, I've looked up to ever since I was 14, 15 years old. And now they're texting me, we're always contacting each other, and everybody's has one mission in this sport, and that's just to be better and to bring your best to the stage. So it don't matter whether, you know, you like somebody or not. It's not up to you whether that person's gonna win or that person's gonna win. It just depends on what the judges want that day. So in the end of the day, there's no reason to be, you know, not humble, because as long as you know that you brought your best package, and if you can help your buddy, you know, bring a better package to the stage, maybe help him with his posing, even when you guys are competing against each other, it doesn't matter. It's not gonna make the difference whether he's gonna beat me or I'm gonna beat him, because at the end of the day, it's about the judges, what they want that day. So I wanna be able to leave a legacy of making sure this bodybuilding community comes together as one and not just make it a selfish sport, and have a better understanding of what Devin Curioni had left an impact for in the bodybuilding. In my 10 years of being interested in becoming a bodybuilder, so I started out when I was 14 years old. It was more for sports and agility. I played baseball. That was my goal. My goal was to make it to the big leagues, MLB. That was everything to me at the time. Well, when I turned 18 years old, I was going to college, playing baseball, and baseball kind of just trickled out for me. It ended up not being my career. Things kind of went sideways. And at that moment, I truly felt lost. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna be a fireman. You know, that's a good backup plan. You know, firemen make, you know, good money, things like that. Well, even though when I was in fireman school and I was doing it, it just was not something I was passionate about. I was sitting in class and I was watching workout videos. I was bringing my meals to class. Teachers were yelling at me left and right for eating in the class. And one day, you know, I was just like, you know, fuck this. I want to be a bodybuilder. This is what I want to do. I have so many people that ask me for advice about lifting, or, you know, how'd you change your body in 2 years like that and things like that. So that's the day that I said, fuck this. I walked out of class. I went full throttle into focusing on my bodybuilding career, full throttle and focusing on coaching in-person clients. And then at 21 years old, I opened up my first gym. So within those couple years, I was able to establish a client base. I was able to establish a reputation in the fitness industry. And when I was 22 years old, 21 years old, I would say is really when I fully locked in. And what I mean by that, I was working out every single day, 7 days a week, ever since I was 14 years old, all the way to 21. But the difference is I locked in on my meals. I was 100% 24/7, what I was eating, when I was eating, what time I was eating, how I was training, what kind of approach was I doing with my training, and not just lifting weights. And that's where a lot of people don't understand is if you truly want to become the best in the world, you need to act like a professional now. What do you think those professionals are doing that are on the top now that you're not? And you need to put yourself in their shoes in order to be that top guy in the world one day. So even if you're an amateur, you got to act like you're a pro now if you want to be a pro. So how my prep changed from NPC mindset to pro mindset. And honestly, it was not too much of a difference as far as my mindset or my drive or necessarily my approach, just because I've always been that person that when I say I'm gonna fucking do something, I'm gonna do it 100%, because I know mentally it'll mess me up if I were to ever go off route of anything and say that day comes on stage and it don't turn out how I want it. Well, I'm gonna look back on that day I fucked up on my meal plan. I'm gonna look back on that day I pussied out on cardio or whatever the case may be. So for me, that part has never changed. I've always been the one to say if I'm gonna do something, I do it to 100%. The thing that did change though from NPC to pro, and that was my execution. So my execution is how was I lifting the weights? How was I going through the movements? You know, I wasn't just lifting just to lift. I was lifting with a purpose now. So now, as you're a pro, every little fine detail, every little, structure in the muscle counts. So I would say as far as the lifting aspect, I went from just lifting to lifting with purpose. As far as food execution, food had changed a lot more as far as just how I approached my meals, what I was having for my meals, as far as making sure that I'm not focusing on just putting a lot of mass on. So I kept everything very controlled this time. I'm so used to worrying about putting on more size, but because I'm a pro and I put on some great size, it was no longer about worrying about getting bigger. It's more about refining my physique. How can I refine my physique to make sure in the judge's eye, I have no flaws and I have every little detail that they want. So that was the difference between my NPC prep to now. Nothing, just my execution, my purpose, and how I executed my food. So my mental state during this prep was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. I was able to handle things very well. I've done this so many times now that, I knew what to expect at certain times of the prep. As you get 8 weeks out, I should be feeling like this. As I get 6 weeks out, I should be feeling like this. I definitely did have some hard times and some struggles mentally, with anxiety, am I ready? Just those common questions that you kind of go through in your head, because obviously you want to bring your best to the stage. But I was able to, kind of control that very well this time. But don't get me wrong, no matter what, prep is prep. It's gonna get hard, it's gonna get challenging, it's gonna get mental. There's so many times that I did wake up towards the end where my feet feel like cinder blocks and I just feel fatigued and everything hurts, and I have an hour cardio today and then I have low food and no carbs, and there's plenty of times I woke up and I'm like, fuck, I do not want to be going to the gym and doing cardio right now. But then I reminded myself, how bad do you want this? You choose your hard. I am grateful to be able to have the opportunity to be stepping on the stage with the best in the world, and I've always wanted this opportunity. If I were to tell myself when I was 15 years old, I'd be where I'm at today, stepping on my second pro stage, I would say I'm crazy and go back to doing whatever I was doing. So, I'm very happy that I am able to push through and look back and know I would make my 15-year-old self very proud of where I'm currently at. And not only that, but my family. How do you accept, when a setback happens, especially like if you're on prep or just in bodybuilding in general? And you just got to understand that no matter what is going on in that moment, is the best thing that you can do is just remain positive, keep doing what you can, do what you can control. So focus on the things that you're able to control. You never want to go into a downhill spiral or think negative no matter how bad the situation is, because it's not only going to help you get out of that hole that you're in during that moment. Like for example, you guys definitely don't know, or you might know, I posted about it, but Thursday last week, which I started prep on this past Saturday, I got super sick. I was super congested, had a cough, I could not breathe at all. So now I'm starting to panic. I'm like, shit, I'm going to my second pro show. I put everything I had into this damn prep. This is my last ride. And of course, now is the time I get sick. At that moment I was freaking out, I was panicking because I can't take any medicine because it's gonna cause water retention. I'm about to start peak week, things like that. So what I did, instead of, freaking out, I took a step back and just continued day by day. And, thankfully I got better, I felt better, and I feel 100%. And now I woke up today the best I have ever looked in a prep, the lowest weight I've ever, dropped down to, the best physique I've ever had, the most confident I've ever been. So, maybe in that moment, it might feel scary. It might feel like, oh my God, but worst thing that you can do is think negative. You need to make sure you continue positive, because one negative will ruin the whole thing. And not only that, it's gonna stress your body out and just make things worse. So just stay positive no matter what, and just keep moving forward, one step at a time. Boom, boom, boom. So I don't know if you guys know, but a little background of my life. It was a major setback, and how I overcame it to become kind of where I'm at today and the person who I am. And honestly, as a child, don't get me wrong, I had a good childhood, but there were definitely things that were really tough on me. And one thing was, I didn't come from money. A lot of my family, not a lot of my family, but my parents, struggled with money. And that was something that, every day I would hear about. Every day we were worrying about making, rent and things like that. And I'm some little kid, just like, don't know what's going on. They're always fighting and things like that. And then one moment, one night, middle of the night, we get pulled out of our house. I have twin sisters by cops. 1 second, my sisters are going in one cop car. 1 second, I'm going into another cop car. Parents are screaming in the front yard. I have no idea what's going on. Next thing you know, I'm in a foster home, separated from my sisters for about 2 to 3 years. And that was one of the toughest times of my life. And in that moment, I would never leave the room. I would always stay in my room. There's a million, like probably 12 other kids in that household that they put me in. I was never able to really see my sisters, so I didn't go to school during that time. And during that moment is when I really matured young. And I told myself, I never, ever want to be in this position when I'm an adult. And, I never want to worry about money. I never want my kids or family to worry about money. And I want to be able to have an enjoyable life. So there's two roads I could have gone down. I could have gone down the same road and just said not give a fuck and blame everything around me. Or I could say, no, fuck that. I'm going to be different. My life's going to be different. And I'm going to make sure I do everything possible in my power to make sure I have the life I want. And that was my turning point as far as who I am and what brought me here today. The role that my support team, definitely plays a huge role in my success. And not only is it my sponsorships, because, you know, as bodybuilding, as you may know, it is a very expensive sport. You know, all the supplements add up, all the food adds up, you know, all the, you know, apparel adds up, because this is all I do. And this is all the clothes I wear is going to be apparel. And those things definitely make a huge difference in order to help you keep going forward and not be continuing to break your bank. So, you know, I really want to give a shout out to my sponsors, VMI, amazing company, quality products, no artificials, great digesting. They have some of the best proteins and BCAAs and pre-workouts on the market. And not only because I'm sponsored by them, but I truly believe in their vision and their passion with their athletes. They take care of them. Jed North, shout out to Jed North. They send me all kinds of clothes every month. Yeah, I know I'm not wearing Jed North. I'm wearing the Jed North shorts right now. But no, super, you know, thankful to be with Jed North, because they're always keeping me, you know, looking clean, feeling good for the gym. And not only that, they're also making me look clean and stuff outside of the gym. They have awesome sweats, button-ups, jeans, things like that as well. And then Apex Labs. Apex Labs is a huge part of my success as well, keeping me healthy as far as inside and out. You know, I take their L-carnitine when I'm on prep, their injectables. I take their health supplements as far as their turmeric pills. I take their Oxy Shred, which is a fat burner pill that I take in the morning before my fasted cardio. So if it wasn't for those three companies, you know, it would definitely make my prep a lot harder. So thank you guys for sponsoring me, supporting me. If you ever want to use my code, it's DC15. And not only, you know, am I telling you just to use my code, just use my code. They're great companies. I really believe in them. And it also helps support my journey. So every time you purchase something, you know, I get a little bit of a percentage, and it helps support, you know, all my bills I had to pay as far as traveling, food, and things like that. So, you know, it really helps me, and I appreciate everybody that uses my code. And finally, you know, I have to give a huge shout out to my coach, Nick Keough. This man has brought me from an amateur to a professional in over the last 3 years we've been working together. Since the 3 years we've been working together, we did our first just regular NPC show, the California Championships over in LA, Anaheim, won the overall. Second show, Universe Nationals in New Jersey, got second place, got my pro card. Third show, pro debut, top 10, first pro debut. Now we're about to make some noise going into our second pro show. But not only as a coach, he's done those things for me. He's really helped, you know, me in the times that I'm having a hard time, reminding me to stay focused on the positives, keeping me positive throughout my entire prep. You know, sometimes, you know, we could just say, do I need to do this? Do I need to do more of this? Do I need to do more of that? And he's there to just say, take a step back. There's no reason to do more, because more is not always better. And not only that, but he lives the life, and he continues to improve his physique and his bodybuilding career. So he's been a huge person I've looked up to, and really has helped me just overall inside bodybuilding and outside bodybuilding. When it comes to competitions, it's not only about having the best physique up there. Posing and presentation is huge when it comes to stepping on stage. You could have one of the best physiques in the world, and then this guy next to you could have almost the close physique as yours, but because his presentation was a lot more smooth, a lot more clean, a lot more simple, knew how to hit his angles better than you, knew how to hold the poses, especially if they're holding you up there quite long, will make a huge difference whether you're gonna win or you're not gonna win. So presentation is definitely huge. Never distract yourself from having a good presentation or a good routine on stage. So if you ever need help with any of the posing, I do online posing. coaching as well, so reach out to me, but don't ever neglect your posing. All right, you guys, Saturday, May 31st, Legions. Just know that I am bringing my best package I have ever brought to the stage, and I'm here in Reno, Nevada to make a statement. Welcome to The Last Ride.
In a crowd with someone